In a quiet little street, there lived a dog named Bingo. Since he was a puppy, a family had brought him home. They cared for him and loved him like a true family member. Every morning, Bingo would run out the gate to see his owners off to work. In the evening, he would lie on the doorstep, waiting for the familiar sound of their return. His life was simple, yet complete in the embrace of love. But that life quickly changed. The family decided to move to a new apartment complex, one that did not allow pets. And on moving day, amid the clutter of belongings, they left Bingo on the old porch, together with a small bag of food and a hastily scribbled note. "I can't take him with me. If anyone cares, please adopt him." Bingo didn't understand what was happening. He just sat there, his sad eyes watching the familiar path. Every time a vehicle passed by, he would jump up, hoping his owners would return. But day after day, no one came back. Under the scorching sun and the pouring rain, the dog waited patiently. His body grew thin, fur fell out in patches, his breathing grew weak. But in those eyes, a flicker of hope remained that someone would return to bring him home. In the days that followed, Bingo remained on the old porch, enduring rain or shine, cold or hunger. His emaciated appearance began to draw the attention of a nearby woman, Mrs. Mery, a widow who had lived alone for many years since her husband's passing. Each day, she walked by and quietly left some food and water for the dog. Though she had never owned a pet, she felt something special in Bingo's eyes, a deep sorrow, but still faint hope. At first, she simply thought, perhaps his owner will come back soon. But as the days passed and no one appeared, Bingo grew weaker, shivering, coughing, eyes red and clouded from inflammation. Seeing him huddled under a tree in the rain, Mrs. Mery could no longer stand by. She gently carried Bingo home, cleaned him with warm water, and used traditional herbal remedies to wash his wounds. The next day, she took him to the nearest veterinary clinic for a health check. From that day on, she began caring for the little dog, as if caring for a seriously ill child, preparing thin porridge, giving medicine on time, and wrapping him in a warm cloth every night. The difficult days gradually passed. Bingo began to move again. His eyes brightened, and his tail wagged softly when he saw Mrs. Mery. Though he could not speak a word, his eyes seemed to say, "I am grateful, because you didn't abandon me." Time passed, and Bingo fully recovered. From a thin, weak dog, he became agile and joyful like never before. Every morning, he lay at Mrs. Mery's feet as she made tea. Every afternoon, he ran around the yard chasing fallen leaves, bringing laughter to a house that had grown too quiet. Mrs. Mery began to feel her life change, gently, warmly, and filled with something to look forward to each day. Then, on a fateful night, under a dark sky with howling winds, Bingo suddenly barked loudly in the night. He ran around the living room, scratching fiercely at the kitchen door, emitting anxious warning barks. Mrs. Mery awakened with a start, initially thinking he was having a nightmare. But when she stepped into the kitchen, she froze. The strong smell of gas filled the entire room. A small pipe behind the stove had cracked, leaking gas since the evening. Without timely detection, just a single spark could have been disastrous. Mrs. Mery immediately turned off the gas valve, opened all the windows, and ventilated the room. When the panic subsided, she quietly sat down and embraced Bingo tightly. Tears fell onto his soft fur as she whispered, "You are not just a sweet dog, you are my lifesaver." From that moment on, the love between them grew deeper than ever, a bond unspoken yet profound and irreplaceable. Since that night, the bond between Mrs. Mery and Bingo became ever closer. To many, Bingo was just an abandoned dog, but to her he was a gift given by life, a loyal friend, a little child, and the guardian who saved her from disaster. Every day, Bingo lay obediently by Mrs. Mery's side as she read or watered plants. He demanded nothing. Just being by her side, hearing her gentle voice was enough. And Mrs. Mery, once a lonely widow, now had a companion who followed her every step. She no longer ate meals in silence or sat alone at dusk. Every day was filled with unconditional love, something she had believed lost long ago. Neighbors gradually learned of the story between the elderly woman and this special dog. They were all moved when they saw the silver-haired lady and the little dog walking together each evening. Quiet, warm, and tender. Bingo, from a dog once abandoned, had now found his true home. And in Mrs. Mery's heart, he was not just a pet, he was family. Life sometimes doesn't need grand gestures. It only needs a loving heart, and a being willing to stay by our side, no matter the circumstances. Bingo cannot speak human words, but his affection has never been hidden. Whenever Mrs. Mery felt sad, he gently rested his head on her leg as a comfort. When she was tired, he lay quietly beside her, his eyes following each of her breaths. Not once did Bingo leave her side or demand anything, but her presence from the one who had rescued him when no one else would. Over time, people no longer called Bingo the abandoned stray dog. He had become an indispensable part of Mrs. Mery's life, Every morning, he helped tend the garden with her. Every evening, they sat together on the porch watching the sunset. Simple, warm, and full of love. To the world, Bingo may just be a small dog, but to Mrs. Mary, he was a miracle that changed her life. And she, in turn, was the miracle that saved a soul once forgotten. Perhaps life only needs a little serendipity, a little timely love to revive things that seem lost. Mrs. Mary gave Bingo a home, and Bingo, silently, brought her an entirely new life. Sometimes life doesn't require grand things. Sometimes just a moment of kindness, a timely hug, or a thankful glance is enough to warm an entire life. Bingo, the dog once abandoned, once shivering under the cold rain, has now become a symbol of loyalty and rebirth. No one expected that a small creature once forgotten could light up the life of someone drifting silently in loneliness. Mrs. Mary, the widow living alone after loss, could never have imagined that one simple decision to take a stray dog home could so beautifully transform her world. In that small house, silence no longer existed. The sound of Bingo's paws running around the yard, Mrs. Mary talking to him like an old friend, all painted a rare and peaceful picture. They say, saving one life is like saving an entire world. And Mrs. Mary did just that, not only for Bingo, but for her own heart as well. Happiness doesn't always lie in grand places. Sometimes it's in knowing someone needs you, and you need them too. Love, no matter how late it comes, still remains the most precious gift life can give.